You ever agree to something just to look brave, even though every cell in your body is screaming nope? Yeah, that's how this all started. Please like and subscribe before starting this true scary horror story. Marcus, my loudmouth best friend who always thinks life is a horror movie he can beat, dared us to explore Asylum one night. Just us. No phones. No Wi-Fi. No backup plan. He said, "We'll go in around midnight, spend a couple hours, film it, get some creepy shots, come out, done." Like it was just a haunted house at Halloween or something. But Ashpine isn't some fake attraction. It's not on tourist maps. It's not open to the public. Most people don't even talk about it. There's a reason for that. The place was shut down in 1981 after a fire killed, depending on who you ask, 13, 27, or 41 patients. The records were lost or maybe just buried. After that, the building was just left there. No one tried to rebuild. No one even tried to tear it down. And there are rumors, of course. Whispers online about a patient who wasn't in the records. Someone the doctors refused to name. A man who never spoke but always smiled. They say the fire wasn't an accident, that it was his doing. But those were just Reddit stories, right? So we went. Four of us. Me. Marcus, obviously. Jenna, our filmmaker friend who brought a GoPro and thought this would make her channel blow up. And Ty, who always talks big but flinches every time you say, boo. We didn't tell anyone where we were going. Didn't want anyone to stop us. We packed flashlights, snacks, extra batteries, and a crowbar, because Marcus said if the place was locked, we'll make our own door. And around 11:50 p.m., we pulled up to the gates. No streetlights, no noise. Just this massive, broken building rising out of the woods like a tombstone. The gate was hanging off its hinges. There were handprints in the dust on the metal. Old probably. We stood there for a second, just staring. And then Marcus grinned and said, "Time to meet the ghosts." I wish we'd turned around right then. Because from the second we stepped through those gates, something was wrong. We didn't even have to break in. No chains, no padlocks. Just a rusty gate that groaned open like it hadn't been touched in decades, and yet somehow opened like it was expecting us. There was a single sign nailed to the gate. Private property. Do not enter. Trespassers will be prosecuted. In faded red letters, someone had written underneath, "If you're reading this, it's already too late." Of course, Marcus read that out loud in a fake spooky voice like, "Oh guys, it's a death trap," and Ty laughed. I didn't. I know it sounds dumb now, but the second we stepped inside, everything felt thicker, like the air didn't want to move, like we were underwater. The main building was huge. Old bricks, blackened windows, and this giant wooden double door that looked like it hadn't opened since the place shut down in 1981. It was warped, cracked, one side leaning like it might collapse if you pushed too hard. So Marcus pushed. The door groaned open on the first try. Inside, it was like walking into a time capsule, except instead of old-school charm, it just screamed abandoned hospital nightmare. The entrance lobby had a desk tipped over, broken glass on the floor, and these wheelchairs just sitting there like someone forgot to move them. There was graffiti all over the walls, skulls, numbers, weird messages like, "He lives in the walls. Don't open your eyes. It's not a man." Ty, trying to be funny, read one and went, "What do you mean it's not a man? Is it like a raccoon?" Jenna had the GoPro rolling the entire time. She started narrating like a true YouTuber. "Alright guys, so we've officially entered Asylum. Vibes? Rotten. Smells like regret and mothballs. We're heading into the East Wing now." She was trying to keep it light. We all were. But underneath the jokes, we were quiet. Too quiet. Because every hallway we passed looked like it was watching us. I know how insane that sounds, but I swear on everything, each doorway, each window, even the peeling wallpaper, it felt like something knew we were there. The weirdest part? We could hear a sound. Faint. Faint enough that you could write it off as wind. Or plumbing. Or your own nerves playing tricks on you. It sounded like breathing. But not ours. Someone else's. Low, slow, constant. Ty finally asked, "Guys, do you hear that?" We stopped walking, listened, and we all heard it. None of us said anything after that. We followed the hallway toward the East Wing. Everything about it felt wrong. The lights were busted, the tiles were cracked, and there was this smell. Like wet mold and copper. Like someone spilled blood and bleach and never cleaned it up. Our footsteps echoed too loud. Every sound felt like it was bouncing around off walls we couldn't even see. But the worst part? That breathing sound? It was louder now, closer. like it was right above us. Jenna panned her GoPro around. I kept checking over my shoulder. Ty said nothing, just kept chewing the inside of his cheek the way he does when he's trying not to freak out. The East Wing had been the patient quarters. That's what we read online. Non-violent cases, mostly elderly or long-term residents who couldn't live on their own anymore. The first door we opened creaked like it had rusted into place. The room inside was tiny. A bed, a window with the glass long gone, and wallpaper that looked like it was peeling off on its own. On the bed was a pile of blankets that looked like a person curled up. But when Marcus poked it with his flashlight, just trash, rags, and under them a single child's shoe. Not a pair, just one. Size too small for any adult. We moved to the next room. This one had drawings taped to the wall. Faded with water damage, but still visible. Stick figures, black scribbles. A face with no eyes, just a huge mouth and black teeth. Next to it was another drawing. Same figure, standing over a bed. Red scribbles all around it like fire or blood. A tiny stick figure girl curled in a corner. Under it, written in what looked like crayon, "He waits in the white room." What the hell is the white room? Jenna asked, mostly to herself. No one answered. We didn't want to. Halfway down the corridor, the lights flickered. Now, let me be clear, this building had no power. We knew that going in. The whole place had been disconnected from the grid for decades. But the hallway lights, those long, overhead fluorescent ones, they buzzed. They flickered. They turned on. Just for 2 seconds. Long enough for all of us to freeze. Long enough to see something at the far end of the hallway. It was tall, thin, just standing there. And then darkness again. The lights snapped off like someone hit a switch. Jenna whispered, "Did you see that?" Marcus nodded. Probably a shadow, reflection, something. None of us believed that, because there were no windows. The last door on the left was half open. Room 112. Marcus pushed it open with a flashlight. Something crunched under his boot. A glass jar, shattered, full of what looked like human teeth. Dozens of them. Jenna made a noise like she was gonna throw up. I don't blame her. Ty just muttered, "Yo, what the actual?" And then something moved in the dark. Not near us. Inside the walls. Scratching, crawling, fast. Not rats, not pipes. Something with fingers. We all backed out of the room at the same time. Something on the inside scratched 3 deep lines into the wall from top to bottom. We didn't sleep that night, but we weren't even halfway through the building yet. We were ready to leave. After what we saw in room 112, nobody said it out loud, but we all felt it. We shouldn't be here. Not even for the views. Not for the story. Not for the clicks. Jenna stopped filming. Ty stopped cracking jokes. Marcus wasn't smiling anymore. But then, of course, we found the solitary wing. It was sealed off with a heavy steel door at the far end of the East Wing hallway. The kind that looks like it was meant to keep something in, not out. There was a busted sign above it. You could barely read the faded paint, but it said, "Level 3 observation. Restricted access." Ty shined his flashlight over the door and said, "Why does this look like a prison?" Marcus was already at it with the crowbar. "Dude," I said, "we should not go in there." He looked at me and said something that stuck with me more than anything else from that night. "If we don't go in, why does it still feel like it's already watching us?" And with one loud crack, the door opened. Inside, it was like stepping into a freezer. No joke. I could see my breath fogging in the flashlight beam. The temperature had dropped at least 15 degrees. But there was no draft. No open windows. No vents. No airflow. Just cold. And silence. These rooms were worse. Smaller. No windows. Just a bed, a toilet, and sometimes a mirror. The doors were thicker with viewing slots. And scratched into a lot of them, again and again, the same word. Hollow. Jenna whispered it out loud and it echoed too far. Like the hallway stretched when she said it. Maybe it was their last name? Ty said weakly. I shook my head. Nah, this place. I think Hollow was someone, not something. The third door was open. Room 309. There were no lights in the cell, but our flashlights caught everything. Bed frame, broken. Mattress. Torn open like something had clawed its way out. Walls, covered in dozens, maybe hundreds of tiny tally marks. Jenna counted. These go up to 4,000. And right in the center of the back wall, written over the tallies, one line. If you see him, it's already too late. I'll be honest, I wanted to leave right then. My gut was screaming. That sick, sour feeling in your stomach that says you're not in control anymore. But Marcus stepped in like he was pulled. He walked over to the mirror and just stared into it. We all waited for him to say something. Joke, laugh, do anything. And then he said, completely calm, "There's someone behind us." We spun around so fast our lights hit every wall. But there was no one there. Just the hallway. Empty. Still. Silent. That's when things really started to shift. Because when we turned back to Marcus, he wasn't looking in the mirror anymore. He was looking into it. Like his reflection wasn't mimicking him. Like it was watching him. Ty reached out and grabbed his arm. "Come on, dude. We're done. Let's go." His mouth opened slowly. Not in shock. More like in awe. He said, "It's smiling at me." Marcus didn't move. Just kept staring. Jenna stepped between them and smacked the mirror. The whole thing shattered. And for a split second, literally a flash, I saw something move behind the glass. Like it had been trapped inside. And it was finally free. We all ran. Didn't talk. Didn't think. Just bolted back toward the main hallway. But something had changed. The floor felt longer. The air was buzzing, almost vibrating, like the building was holding in a scream. We ran and ran and ran. And when we got back to where the east wing should have connected to the lobby, it was gone. Just a wall. No exit. No map. No sign. Like we had never come from there. Like the building had changed its mind. We stood there for a full minute, just staring at the wall. This was supposed to be the hallway that led back to the entrance. We knew it was. We just walked it 20 minutes ago. But now, it was gone. Sealed up with bricks that looked older than the building itself. Jenna kept spinning in circles, whispering, "No, no, no, we came from here. This doesn't make sense." Marcus was breathing heavy, like he'd just run a marathon. His hands were shaking. Ty put both hands on his head and just started pacing, muttering, Nah, I don't play with this time warp maze crap. I saw this in a movie and guess what? They died." I was about to say something, anything, just to keep us from totally losing it. And then I felt it. A hand. On my shoulder. Firm. Like someone grabbing me from behind. I spun around so fast I almost dropped my flashlight. Nobody there. The hallway behind me was empty. Not just empty, dead silent. No breathing. No creaking floorboards. No flickering lights. Nothing. I didn't even tell the others right away. I just kept staring into the dark, trying to make sense of what I'd felt. But Ty noticed. "What's wrong with you, dude?" I turned and said, "Someone just touched me." No one laughed. Because just then, Ty jumped back like something slapped the back of his neck. He spun, eyes wide. Don't mess with me." "I didn't touch you," I said. His hand went to his neck. There were 3 scratches. Not deep, but fresh. Red. Stinging. Jenna moved her flashlight toward him. And right as she did, her GoPro shut off. Dead. Fully charged. Brand new battery. No reason it should have died. She pressed the power button again. Nothing. Marcus shook his head. "Okay, that's it. We leave. Now." He turned to walk and slammed straight into another wall. We'd come from a hallway. A long one. We had walked down it. We knew it had been there. Now it was just wall. Like the place was swallowing paths behind us. Changing the layout. Rewriting itself. We were trapped. For the first time that night, no one said a word. It felt like saying anything might make it worse. We started walking again, but not fast. This was different now. Every creak of the floor felt like a landmine. Every doorway felt like a mouth waiting to open. Then we heard it. A whisper. Soft. Dragging. Like someone breathing a word through cracked lips. Closer. We all stopped. "Did someone say that?" Jenna whispered. Marcus said, "We need to move. Now." We picked the hallway to the right. Not because it felt safer, none of them did, but because the air there didn't stink like rot. It led to a wide, dark corridor with cracked tiles and peeling yellow paint. There was a room at the end. The door had no handle. It was painted white, but stained like something tried to bleed through it. And scrawled across it in black marker, "Only one gets out." Ty stared at it and just said, "Yo, no, I'm not going in there." But Marcus already was. Marcus pushed the door open. The room was pitch black, like no light had ever touched it. Jenna shined her flashlight in, but it barely cut through the dark, like the beam got swallowed. Inside was a stairwell, leading down, concrete, cracked, covered in dust, and not on any of the maps we'd seen online. Not even the ones Jenna printed. I thought this place only had 3 floors, I said. Marcus didn't answer. He just started walking down. Seriously, Ty asked. After everything, we're going deeper. I just want to see what's down there, Marcus said. Real quick. Jenna sighed, turned her camera back on. Somehow, it worked again, and said, 5 minutes. If it gets weirder than it already is, I'm out. We followed. That staircase felt like it went on forever. Our footsteps echoed weird, like they weren't hitting the steps right. Like there was a second pair of steps just half a second behind us. I stopped halfway down and turned around. Nothing behind us. But the air was moving, breathing. Every few seconds I could feel it rush past my ears. A push like someone just walked by. Dude, Ty said, this feels wrong. He was right, but we kept going. The basement looked like it wasn't part of the asylum at all. It was made of old stone, like a tunnel system that had been built before the hospital. The walls dripped with moisture. The lights, bare bulbs wired to the ceiling, flickered dimly like they were running on dead batteries. And the smell? Awful, like meat left in the sun too long. That kind of smell that makes you gag and doesn't go away. We turned a corner and found a hallway of doors. Smaller than patient rooms, more like cages. Inside one, on the wall, was something fresh, scratched in jagged lines. We only need one. Ty backed away. No, that's not old. That's wet. Jenna kept filming. Marcus was drawn to it, like a moth to a flame. He just walked right up to the words and stared. I pulled him back. That's when we heard it. That sound again. Breathing. But this time, it was fast, like someone hyperventilating. From inside one of the cages, we all turned. The door on the far end of the hall creaked open, just an inch. Inside, total darkness. And then we saw it. A hand, long, thin, pale, reaching out, just hovering in the doorway. The fingers moved like they were beckoning. We ran. No shame, no logic, just pure fear. But the hallway stretched. The more we ran, the longer it got. The door we came through, gone. And then Jenna screamed. I turned around. She was gone, just vanished. No sound, no dragging, no footsteps. 1 second she was behind me, the next, empty space. Marcus yelled her name, over and over. Nothing, only the sound of breathing. And that whisper again, closer this time. 1 is enough. We froze. Ty was crying. Marcus was silent. I just stood there, numb. And then Marcus looked up and whispered, we're in his wing now. He didn't answer. Alone. I asked, whose? He just walked into the dark room where the hand had been. And the door shut behind him. Marcus was gone. The door slammed shut the second he stepped through it. I ran up to it, pounded on it, screamed his name. Nothing. No response. Ty stood behind me, frozen, pale. He was shaking so hard I thought he might collapse. Open it, he yelled. That's when we heard the voice. Not Marcus's. A whisper. Soft, smooth, too close. Just cold, heavy silence. I'm trying. I slammed my shoulder into the door. It didn't even budge. There was no handle, no keyhole, just solid metal, thick and old and wrong. You brought him. Ty turned and aimed his flashlight behind us. And then we saw it. At the end of the hallway, it wasn't walking. Tall, thin, wrapped in what looked like a patient gown so long it dragged behind it like a tail. No face, just a stretched patch of skin where a face should have been. It didn't rush. It didn't groan. It just pointed at me. Ty grabbed my sleeve. Go, 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 go. We ran. Back through the basement. Through the hallway of cages. The walls felt closer. The lights were strobing, like a rave inside a nightmare. And behind us, we could hear it now. That sound. Like it was gliding across the floor. And laughing. Low, wet, wrong. We didn't stop until we got back to the stairwell. But something was off. The stairs were different. There were more of them now. Like the stairwell was deeper. Ty yelled, this isn't the way we came in. He was right. The walls were made of something else now. Not concrete, stone. Carved, ancient-looking stone. There were marks on the steps, drag marks, scratches, and what looked like nails embedded into the walls, like someone tried to claw their way out. I don't remember how long we climbed. I just remember feeling like the longer we moved, the more something watched from below. At one point, I turned around, and I swear to you there was an eye. Not a person, just an eye. On the wall. open, looking at me. I blinked. Gone. We made it back to a hallway that at least looked familiar. I recognized one of the broken gurneys from earlier. I remember Ty whispering, "What is this place?" And I said what none of us wanted to say out loud. I don't think it's an asylum anymore, because this place, it had changed. It was shifting, and it was alive. We made it to what looked like the main hallway again, or maybe a version of it. The paint was a different color. The windows were bricked up. There were symbols scratched into the floor, hundreds of them. Circles, teeth, eyes. I didn't remember that part, but Ty was just relieved. "Let's go. Find the exit. Get the hell out." We started moving fast. Didn't say a word. And then, Jenna's voice, behind us, whispering, not screaming, not begging, just calmly saying, "Guys, where are you?" We froze. Ty said, "No way, she's gone. That's not her." And I agreed, because we saw her vanish. She didn't walk away. She was there 1 second and gone the next. She didn't have time to scream. So how could she be behind us? And why did her voice sound wrong? Almost like a recording. A little too clear. A little too calm. We didn't move. And then the hallway behind us went black. Like someone hit a switch. We turned slowly. And there she was, standing at the edge of the dark. Still, head tilted slightly. Her eyes were too wide. Her smile wasn't hers. "I found the way out," she said. But her lips didn't move. I grabbed Ty's arm. "No," I whispered. "That's not her. Jenna's body. Or whatever was using it." Stepped forward. One slow step. And another. And behind her, that thing. The faceless one. Watching. We ran again. But Ty didn't follow. I heard him shout, "I can't move. Something's holding." I turned around. He wasn't there. Not Jenna. Not Ty. Nothing. Just the hallway. Empty. I stood there frozen, waiting to hear something. His footsteps. His voice. Anything. But the only thing I heard was a whisper. Low. Deep. Not his voice. And at the end, the door. Open. Morning light. I was so shocked I almost didn't believe it. One is enough. That same voice. Always the same voice. But it didn't come from behind me. It came from the mirror on the wall beside the exit. I looked in, and there was a second me, smiling. "He stays." I kept running. I didn't look back. The halls were different now, covered in vines, cracked and rotting, like decades had passed in minutes. Every door I passed had someone, or something, breathing behind it. I didn't open any of them. Eventually, I reached a hallway I knew, the entry hall, but I walked toward it, slowly. I was 5 feet away when I heard it. Not blinking, not breathing, just smiling. I ran through the door without looking back. I didn't stop until I hit the road. Called the police, cried, screamed, tried to explain. They sent people, but when they searched the building, there was no basement, no room 309, no Jenna, no Marcus, no Ty. They said the place had been sealed shut since 1981. But I know what I saw. You'd think escaping would feel like freedom. But when I hit the road outside Ashpine, gasping for breath, soaked in sweat and shaking like a leaf, I didn't feel relief. I felt watched, like I hadn't escaped, like the building had let me go. I called the police, like I said. I told them my friends were missing inside. They sent 2 cars, 1 ambulance, and a fire marshal. 3 hours later, I got a call back. "We found nothing." That's what the officer said. No signs of entry, no signs of a break-in. No Marcus, no Jenna, no Ty. And when I tried to describe what the building looked like, he cut me off and said, "That wing was demolished 30 years ago, but I was just in that wing. The cells, the stairs, the cages. They were real, totally unreadable. Until day 3, right? I went home, didn't sleep for 2 nights, didn't eat, didn't talk to anyone. I just kept going through Jenna's footage, praying her GoPro had picked something up. But the SD card was corrupted. That morning, her footage suddenly worked. Except it wasn't the stuff she filmed when we first entered. It was just one clip, exactly 8 seconds long. A shot of a hallway, still, empty, silent. Then a sharp, static glitch. And suddenly, there I was, standing, alone, staring straight at the camera. But I don't remember that. Then I smiled. A smile way too wide for my face. And whispered, "He only needs one." Then, cut to black. That's when I started noticing things. Mirrors catching my reflection too late. TV's flickering when I walked by. Random, horrible whispers when I was home alone. Always from behind me. Never loud enough to understand. At first, I thought it was trauma. Maybe hallucinations. Maybe I had lost my mind. But then the lights in my bathroom started turning on by themselves. And I'd wake up to muddy footprints in my living room. Always leading away from me. Not toward the front door, but from wherever I was standing. Back into the dark. The last time I saw Marcus, it was on the train. A reflection. I looked up from my seat and saw him in the glass. He was standing just a few feet behind me. Not blinking, not breathing, smiling. But when I turned around, gone. Only an empty seat. And behind that, a mirror. It's been 6 months since Ashpine. People don't ask me about it anymore. The cops closed the case. Official story: we trespassed, got lost, the others ran off. Young adults seeking thrills, they said. They never found Jenna's camera. They never found Ty's jacket. They never found anything. I moved, tried to start over. Got rid of the clothes I wore that night. Burned them, actually. Deleted all the files. Changed my number. Stayed off Reddit. Ghosted everyone. But I can't ghost him. The thing from the basement. The thing from the mirror. The thing that waited. Because every now and then, when I least expect it, I'll see something. A shadow in a hallway that disappears when I blink. A figure standing just outside a store window that looks a little too much like me. A second reflection in the rearview mirror. I don't know if it's Marcus. I don't know if it's me. But something followed me out of Ashpine. And it's patient. I tried therapy. Didn't help. Tried meds. Didn't help. I even tried going back once. Just to prove to myself it wasn't real. That it was a psychotic break, some stress hallucination. Trauma response. But when I drove to the location, there was nothing there. Just trees. No road. No gates. No broken brick building. Like the place never existed. But I know it did. And I think it still does. Just not for everyone. Just for the ones it picked. I think Ashpine Asylum is more than a building. It's a test. A trap. A mirror. It shows you what you're afraid of. It breaks you. And if it likes you, it lets you leave. But it never lets you go. I'm not telling this story to scare you. I'm telling it because if you ever find a place that isn't on any map, if you hear about a building that was closed down with no real explanation, if someone dares you to go into an abandoned asylum just for the thrill, don't. Because the worst part of what happened that night isn't what I saw. It's what I brought back with me. I still see Marcus. Still hear Jenna's voice sometimes, calling from another room when I know I'm alone. And Ty, his face shows up in my dreams. But he's never looking at me. He's always looking past me, over my shoulder, toward something I haven't turned around to see. Yet, last night, I woke up and my closet door was open. I haven't opened it in weeks. On the mirror inside, drawn with a finger into the fog. You're next.